The Trump administration delivering on a promise to cut the funding to the United Nations, negotiating a $285 million budget cut. Now, the move follows a landslide vote condemning the decision to move the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. Ambassador Nikki Haley in a statement saying, quote, "We will no longer let the generosity of the American people be taken advantage of or remain unchecked." The U.S. currently accounts for 22% of the United Nations budget. Joining me now to talk about it, former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton, now a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute and a Fox News contributor. Ambassador, great to see you. Excellent column that you penned in the Wall Street Journal today. Many presidents have sort of hinted that they are so disgusted with the United Nations that they have threatened under their breath, if nothing more than that, to cut some of the funding. This is a president who had the courage to actually do it. What do you make of it?
Well, I think it's an important step, and I think there's every prospect there's going to be more of it. This particular budget cut was really negotiated, basically baked in the cake before the Jerusalem vote. But if there were ever a pivot point for an administration to say to Congress and the American public, this is what we're spending our money on, I can't think of a better one. You know, back in the day, in the 1980s, it was Congress that was cutting the budget to the UN and really cut a substantial amount under the leadership of Senator Jesse Helms. Right. Now I think President Trump has an opportunity to do something about it, and I hope he takes advantage of it.
Well, going back a few days, just before the vote and a great many speeches on the floor of the United Nations, the Turkish ambassador said, oh, threatening to withhold money to member states would be extortion. You're trying to buy our vote. It's not even close to that, is it, Ambassador?
No, and I'd have to say, while certainly the budget levels at the UN are a serious problem for the United States, they're actually something else much more serious. They are symptoms of the larger problem at the UN, where bureaucracies exist. I've called them self-licking ice cream cones. They have no apparent effect in the real world, but they cost a lot of money. And so I think what the United States needs to do is go through and systematically separate the UN sheep from the goats. And I'd even go further. I'd say the entire assessed system of contributions. You mentioned the U.S. pays 22%. It's kind of like an international tax. We pay 28% of the peacekeeping budget, right, which is actually bigger than the regular budget. Let's just contribute on a voluntary basis. It will outrage some countries, but sure, let's just contribute to what we think is worthwhile and not contribute to what we think is not worthwhile.
Right. Well, one could argue the entire United Nations is not worthwhile, but we'll leave that for another day. Let's turn down to North Korea. A couple of topics there. The South is asking that the United States postpone military exercises, worried about some provocation with the North before the Olympics. There's also simultaneously some talk about negotiations, although the North is refusing to back off its nuclear program. What do you think of those two topics?
Well, I think it's understandable South Korea is worried about the effect on the Olympics, but honestly, there are bigger things at stake here, and I'm pretty convinced that we're going to come to a head on the North Korean nuclear program in the very near future, and I feel sorry about a potential impact on the Olympics, but as I say, there are bigger issues involved. And as far as negotiating with North Korea, this is just a waste of oxygen. They are not going to give up their ballistic missile and nuclear programs voluntarily, and we're not seeing pressure applied to them that will make that happen.
Last subject, ISIS. U.S. forces and allied forces have done a wonderful job getting rid of the caliphate in Syria, northern Iraq. But what about Afghanistan?
Well, press reports at least indicate that they've expanded their territory there, that their influence is growing. This is true in other basically anarchic regions of the world, in Libya, in Yemen. So although the physical caliphate in Syria and Iraq is close to being destroyed, the ISIS threat is far from over, including in Syria and Iraq, where every likelihood is they'll turn back to terrorism rather than more conventional warfare. So I think the analysis by the intelligence community some months ago that the threat we face internationally is equal to or greater than it was on 9/11 remains true.
Quick question. I'm almost out of time here. The Kremlin is criticizing the U.S. arming the army in Ukraine, that must mean we're doing the right thing.
Absolutely. Look, I think it was long overdue to provide this lethal assistance, not long overdue in the Trump administration, long overdue going back to Barack Obama, whose passivity in the face of Russian military aggression, I think, encouraged Putin to go even further. So I think this is a significant move for the Trump administration. You have to wonder where all that collusion with Russia is when we're arming Russia's enemies.
All right. Again, everybody can read the ambassador's column in the Wall Street Journal, an excellent one. Ambassador John Bolton, is always great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Greg.